Good evening, I'm David Common. Ian is away. Tonight, while Canada reaches a vaccine milestone, Manitobans are battered by a worsening third wave.
The most difficult part for me would be not knowing the outcome. No idea if I was coming out to see my wife and son or not.
Some critical patients have been transferred out of province as the Premier makes cross-border calls for vaccines. What doctors say still needs to be done. Also tonight, a commercial plane full of people redirected, intercepted by a fighter jet, apparently to arrest a political opponent.
I looked at him directly into his eyes and it was very sad.
The international condemnation. Many of Canada's big banks are asking customers to dig a little deeper.
Who's going to be able to keep $5,000 in their bank account to not get service fees?
Canadians frustrated with a pandemic service hike go public. And little green men or national security threat.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
We don't know what it is, and it isn't ours.
Why the U.S. Senate is set to hear a report about UFOs. This is The National. Canada hit a COVID milestone this weekend, a good one. More than 50% of all Canadians have now had at least one dose of a vaccine. Every shot one step closer to getting back to something normal. In total, there have been more than 21 million of those shots so far. That is the pan-Canadian story. But when you zoom in, the fight against this virus looks very different depending on where you are. In Manitoba, worry is growing about the pressure on the hospitals as more patients are transferred out of the province with ICUs bursting at capacity. And as Austin Grabish reports, that has doctors, nurses, even patients raising the alarm.
It was one of the scariest parts of my life, to be honest with you.
Chris Eastford's lungs are damaged. The 35-year-old spent 12 days being intubated in the ICU. He was just days away from being eligible for a vaccine.
I'm very disappointed with our government right now, our provincial government.
Eastford is one of over 300 people hospitalized with COVID-19 in Manitoba. 74 of them are in ICUs. So many that to free up beds, at least 10 patients have been flown to Ontario. Test positivity rates are also climbing.
Our COVID units are full and our emergency departments are backing up with patients who are on ventilators or requiring a bed in a COVID unit.
Doctors Manitoba put a survey out of their ICU and ER physicians that are right in the thick of this. 98% of them feel that the hospitals are not ready.
Manitoba has banned indoor and outdoor gatherings this long weekend with multiple households. But retail stores and malls are still open with 10% capacity. Only one shopper per home is supposed to go inside a store. Some mall employees say that's not happening.
And people are taking like their whole families. And like, you really don't need to be doing that during a pandemic.
You need the strongest restrictions at the right time. And currently we do not have that.
The Premier is directing his anger at the White House.
So I'm asking, and I hope others will do the same, that Joe Biden stops saying no and that he says yes to getting those vaccines up here.
Brian Pallister wants DC to allow Manitoba to bring up thousands of unused vaccines from North Dakota. Back in hospital, Eastford hopes by sharing his story, people might take COVID more seriously.
I would take those restrictions over having a machine breathing for me for 12 days.
And Austin, the federal government now confirming it is sending in help.
David, the feds are sending up to 50 contact tracers to help with the fight here in Manitoba. They're also sending dozens of more critical care nurses and respiratory therapists. But Premier Brian Pallister himself told me he doesn't know when that help is going to arrive. Now the question tonight is if that help will be enough. With some 5,000 active cases here in Manitoba and hundreds more being reported each day, these reinforcements are certainly going to have their work cut out for them. David?
Austin Grabish in Winnipeg, thank you. Let's turn to Dr. Anand Kumar for an insider look. He is an ICU physician at Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre. Dr. Kumar, take us inside. What's it like in the hospital now?
Things are quite dire. We're getting more patients requiring ICU coming in than we have ICU nurses to take care of them. it's quite difficult.
There has been talk about what restrictions need to be in place to bring this under control. Do you believe the measures that currently exist will bring the outbreak under control in Manitoba?
Absolutely not. They've been in place for 2 weeks. The numbers are the same or going up in terms of daily cases and the counts that are coming into the ICU. Basically, we need a hard lockdown to get this under control.
And if you don't get one?
Then a week from now, or less than a week from now, we are not going to have a place to put patients. Ontario has already agreed to take 20 patients from ICU and transfer. We'll hit that limit within days. After that, unless they're able to open beds by bringing in additional nurses, we won't have a place to put ICU patients.
And what does that mean?
That means we'll have to be thinking about triage as one option for life support. We'll be picking who's going to get full support and who's not.
Dr. Kumar in Winnipeg, thank you. Now, it's a very different story in other provinces where the worst of the third wave is behind them, thanks in part to hitting that 51% vaccinated milestone, and passed on a weekend that's known as the unofficial start of summer. Talia Ricci shows us the joys of making pandemic progress in a province where tough restrictions are now starting to ease.
A dose of summer weather and relief for millions in Ontario this weekend.
It makes me feel pretty happy that it's starting to open up again and you can do lots more stuff than you used to in lockdown.
Many of these kids were feeling happy too. Ontarians 12 and up, now eligible for the shot.
I'm excited. I just want to be able to say that I'm a little bit safer.
Hundreds lined up at a pop-up clinic at Toronto City Hall.
I feel a bit nervous because I don't really like shots, but if I get it and if more people get it, then the sooner we are to getting back to normal.
When we talk about needing to get to 60, 70, 80% for herd immunity, we can't do that without vaccinating our kids.
This weekend, the province loosened restrictions on a number of outdoor activities. People can play sports like tennis, basketball, and soccer, and use BMX and skate parks.
We are so excited. Everything is coming back. Everybody gonna get vaccinated.
Outdoor gatherings of up to 5 people are also allowed and no longer restricted to those within your household, as long as you keep your distance. In long-term care homes, visits outside with friends and family is something advocates have been pushing for months. And this weekend, that was permitted too.
There's nothing that can replace visiting your loved one face to face.
Due to the late announcement, not all homes were ready to start the visits this weekend, but this home in Sudbury was. For this husband and wife who live at different facilities, their long-awaited reunion was almost everything they hoped for.
I'd like to give her a great big hug.
The earliest Ontario could have more restrictions lifted is 3 weeks from now. But for many, warm days and more vaccinations bring some comfort.
Finally, we have great weather and everything is improving, so we are really, really happy that we can go out and enjoy with the family.
A sense of hope more than a year in the making. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
After the pandemic set back profits slightly at Canada's big banks, they are on the rise once again, and now so too are service fees. That's got some customers angry enough to go public. Here's Erica Johnson.
The letter from her bank was bad news.
And it's going up to $1.95 per transaction.
A whole list of fee increases at her longtime bank, TD. Come June 1st, instead of keeping a $2,000 balance to have fees waived, customers will have to sock away $5,000.
In an environment where people have lost their jobs, they're on furlough, they're trying to get, CERB payments, who's going to be able to keep $5,000 in their bank account to not get service fees?
Some CIBC fees go up in a few weeks. BMO and Scotiabank's hikes have already kicked in, prompting customers to contact Go Public.
This is really not the right time for the banks to raise any kind of fees.
Many customers question the need to increase fees given their profits. Williams looked up TD's last year.
And sure enough, they've had positive quarters the whole of COVID. So what is this about? This is just about trying to get people when they're already down, kicking them one time harder.
Each of the big banks continued to make billions last year, but overall earned less than the year before. Those profits are climbing again, though. In this year's first quarterly report, all the major banks surpassed profits over the same period a year ago.
Prime Minister Trudeau said a year ago that the banks should be doing more to help Canadians, and gouging them is not helping them. And it's about time he and the finance minister stepped in and stopped the gouging that's been going on for decades.
He and other consumer advocates say government needs to change the Bank Act so bank profits can be capped where excessive. A lengthy process that wouldn't help customers like Williams now. She has 1 week to figure out what to do.
A spokesperson for TD told Go Public that fee hikes can be a delicate issue and said that such decisions are never made lightly. Other banks said customers should reach out to explore more cost-effective options. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Our Go Public stories come from you. So if you have a tip for the team to investigate, do send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca. At least 14 people have died in a cable car disaster in the Italian Alps. Nearing the summit, it suddenly let go, crashing into the forest below. Officials say the car dropped 20 meters to the ground and rolled several times before it was finally stopped by trees. The cable car runs tourists up a mountain to a cabin from a popular lake on the Italian-Swiss border. At least one child was also seriously hurt in the accident. Foreign Affairs Minister Mark Garneau and U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken are among those tonight loudly condemning an astonishing incident in the skies over Belarus today. Just before it left Belarusian airspace, pilots of a commercial airliner were told of a threat, ordered to turn around, apparently just so officials could arrest a political opponent on board. Chris Brown takes us through it.
The Ryanair flight was never supposed to end up in Minsk, but after an astounding sequence of events, passengers were ordered off their plane and met by Belarus's secret police. There, security forces removed 26-year-old journalist and blogger Roman Protasevich. He infuriated President Alexander Lukashenko by publicizing huge rallies against rigged elections on his social media channel Nexta. And then he revealed the brutality of Lukashenko's security forces. For that, he was charged with treason, prompting he and his family to flee to Lithuania. The flight from Greece to Lithuania was passing over Belarus when the airline says a Belarusian air traffic controller radioed that there was a security threat on board. Though they were only 2 minutes from Lithuanian airspace, he told the confused pilots to reroute to Minsk.
This recommendation to divert to Minsk, where did it come from? This is our recommendation.
And just to make sure the pilot did what he was told, Belarus's military dispatched a MiG jet. One passenger said when it was clear Protasevich was going to be arrested, he became frantic and handed over his phone and laptop to a woman he was traveling with.
Evidently, Belarusian KGB is behind the incident.
A spokesman for Lithuania's president calls the incident abhorrent, and Poland's prime minister said it was state terrorism. There are still many unknowns, including how will NATO and the EU respond to what some say is a case of state-sponsored hijacking. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
Turning now to the Middle East, where a fragile but tense calm continues to hold in Israel and Gaza 3 days into the ceasefire. People are now assessing the enormous damage and holding their breath. Margaret Evans and our CBC News team are back inside Gaza tonight.
Gaza can feel claustrophobic at the best of times. Add in streets clogged with the innards of buildings destroyed by airstrikes, it's even more so. People here are still taking in the extent of the damage.
This was a war. It was terror from the skies, hour after hour, day after day.
Asiya Ahmed is a Canadian with the UN's Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees. Her own office hit by collateral damage. Psychological trauma, she says, is widespread.
Dread, feelings of hopelessness, an absolute fear and worry that this could happen again in 2 or 3 days, if not 2 or 3 months. So everyone is still very much on edge.
Including children. This UN school is sheltering some 200 people who've lost their homes in the conflict. Volunteers and teachers working hard to give kids something else to think about. Their parents need help too.
Night, boom, 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 everywhere. My children is crying.
Kaukab Hanain, a mother of 11, tells us they fled in the night with the clothes on their backs.
We want peace. We don't want war.
Egyptian interlocutors have been moving between Israel and the Gaza Strip. There is a temporary ceasefire in place, yes, and people are making the most of it. But the bigger challenge is to negotiate something longer term.
Yesterday, senior Hamas leaders emerged from hiding for the first time since the conflict began. Yahya al-Sinwar attending the funeral tent of one of his chief lieutenants. The militant Islamist group presents the current ceasefire as a major victory. Whether ordinary Gazans see it that way will depend in part on how quickly much-needed aid starts to arrive and how much help they get rebuilding. U.S. President Joe Biden says he'll work with the UN to provide humanitarian aid that doesn't allow Hamas to restock its military arsenal. Analyst Moshir Amer says the international community is missing the point.
It's not just a question of Gaza and Hamas's rockets. It's the question of the occupation. And without addressing this will continue.
As surely as the sun sets and rises again. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Gaza.
One of the world's most active volcanoes erupted late Saturday in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thousands had to flee into the night, with 9 people killed in a single traffic accident. The death toll is expected to rise. 500 homes were destroyed, but the lava did stop short of Goma, a city of 2 million. On Sunday, some returned to assess the damage. Others posed for photos on the cooling lava. As several communities in the Northwest Territories recover from spring flooding, another one is on high alert, knowing it could be next. The ice has been breaking up for several weeks now along the Mackenzie River, but the tiny community of Aklavik is among the last that could feel the impact. Juanita Taylor went there to see how people are preparing.
Alan Kogiak is getting his boat ready.
It's all coming this way, and then we got to hope that, we don't jam up anywhere and back up all the water.
Every spring, people here brace for flooding, but this year they're watching the river closer than ever.
What I've seen further south of us, it's kind of got me worried though with the levels, because it's all got to come this way, right?
Kogiak is talking about what's already happened in several communities downstream. Bad flooding caused by record high water levels and a late spring melt.
We've evacuated before, we have, so we know how things go.
In the 1950s, the federal government tried to relocate the people of Aklavik to Inuvik for fear the entire community would be destroyed by flooding and erosion. Many decided to go, but others stayed in the traditional community, which has flooded several times since then.
We have our motto, never say die. We'll persevere with the floods, as long as we have our lifestyle, of hunting and harvesting. So.
The community meets regularly to talk about its flood plan. An evacuation will be called if water blocks access to the sewage lagoon or airstrip. But Mina McLeod says she's not leaving. She's seen floods before, including the last bad one in 2006.
So the water came up to the floor, and the floor inside all our insulation got wet.
They've since built a new home. She's now getting generators ready to power her deep freezer.
And I was raised here all my life, and my kids will live here, and we love it here.
But some think it's time to look at other options.
Personally, I think we should move up towards the mountains. It's more solid ground up there. I don't know how many more years we got left here with climate change happening. It's real, it's a big deal. So
over the next few days, people here will be watching the river and waiting to see what happens. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Aklavik, Northwest Territories.
In BC this weekend, more than 30 protesters were arrested and removed from a logging operation. Activists had been busy for months setting up blockades to hamper the work. Things are especially tense because the harvest includes some of Canada's last remaining old-growth forest. Those ancient trees are on Vancouver Island at the Fairy Creek headwaters. Briar Stewart shows us how things have come to a head there.
On a remote stretch of Vancouver Island, a protest that's been building for months. On Saturday, dozens were arrested. Their goal, they say, to stop the logging of some of BC's remaining old-growth forests.
I've never seen trees that big or that old. There are yellow cedars in there that are 2,000 years old. And it's just an incredibly rich ecosystem. And that's where the roading and the logging is set to go.
Today, a period of calm, but activists say this is far from over.
I mean, the people here are here to, the roots are growing here.
The issue has divided communities. This counter-protest included some who work in the forestry sector.
We think that the RCMP should, continue to do what they're doing and create a safe situation so our members can go to work.
In a statement, the company, which has the right to log in this area, says it respects peaceful protest and welcomes constructive dialogue, adding, "Our work on the tree farm license is important and vital to sustaining hundreds of jobs in the province and producing products we rely on every day."
I think that there's different points of view.
This professor who studies social movements and the environment says the protests remind him of similar ones in the 1990s.
Part of that is, about protecting biodiversity and protecting the habitat. And it's not just simply a case of, people wanting fewer trees cut down.
The provincial government, which has vowed to make changes to the logging industry, is facing calls by some here to do more and to do it faster. The protesters say they have no plans to leave. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
The U.S. Senate is set to hear a report about UFOs.
My gosh, they're all going against the wind.
The Pentagon has confirmed numerous videos of mysterious flying objects. But is there a threat, and where are they coming from? Plus, a Canadian boxer is fighting to compete at the Tokyo Games after change criteria disqualified her. She says her pregnancy is at the center of it.
This is something you need to consider when you're putting criteria together that involves female athletes.
And a teen punk band hits back at racism and scores a major deal. Welcome back. Families, friends, and supporters gathered in Minneapolis today to remember George Floyd.
We are here to mark a year of one of the greatest disgraces in American history.
Tuesday marks 1 year since Floyd was murdered by a white police officer. Speakers at tonight's event demanded more accountability for officers. U.S. President Joe Biden is trying to get Congress to pass legislation limiting violence in policing. The Floyd family will meet with Biden at the White House on Tuesday. This week, the Prime Minister will do something that's been 80 years in the making. He will formally apologize for the harm done to Italian Canadians during the Second World War. Now, for some, it's deeply personal and long overdue, but the move has its critics too. Olivia Stefanovic explains.
Inside this church in the heart of Montreal's Little Italy lies the story of one man caught up in a historical wrong the federal government wants to make right.
Look at the expressions or the individuals. See, that's one of his strengths over here. Really,
Roger Bocchini Nincari is the step-grandson of the building's architect, Guido Nincari, a celebrated artist in his day, but eventually vilified for this, a fresco he created in the 1930s that included fascist Italian dictator Benito Mussolini.
When Guido saw that they wanted to put Mussolini in it, he completely said no. The wardens, let's say, push and look, if you don't do it, we'll tear up the contract.
He wouldn't get paid.
Yeah, that's it, you had it, okay? So he was forced to do it.
Back in 1940, authorities considered the painting proof that Nincari was a fascist. Italy had just joined the Second World War on the side of Nazi Germany, and Ottawa declared 31,000 Italian Canadians enemy aliens. Nincari was among 600 detained, suspected of being traitors.
I look at the record at the end and see no convictions.
Now the federal government is trying to make amends with a formal apology for the treatment of Italian Canadians back then, a gesture championed by this cabinet minister.
I look at it from the perspective of a Minister of Justice, and I, as the first Italian Canadian Minister of Justice, and I'm proud and a bit overwhelmed emotionally.
But this historian is worried Ottawa is rewriting history.
They were interned because the government had some evidence. Now, how serious this evidence was is an issue to be determined, but had evidence that these people had links with the Italian fascist party.
When I look at it, there's so much symbolism, especially
in Nincari's case, original sketches of the fresco without Mussolini led to his release, but the impact was long-lasting.
He lost a lot of money, and also not only money, but also to his reputation. Oh, you're a fascist, and he was not a fascist whatsoever.
Now, 81 years later, Ottawa's apology is public redemption for Nincari, and finally closure for his family. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
2 months before the Tokyo Olympics, a star Canadian boxer is fighting to be allowed to compete. She's being excluded because of a last-minute change by the International Olympic Committee to the list of qualifying events and the timing of her pregnancy. Ontario boxer Mandy Bujold is one of Canada's best. She competed in the 2016 Rio Olympics and has won 2 Pan American and 11 national championships. And at the heart of what's happening now, she's also a new mom. Bujold planned the timing of her pregnancy to miss some events in 2018 and 2019, but still have the chance to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. Well, then COVID hit. Events were canceled and everything changed.
The Boxing Task Force that's run by IOC came up with a new criteria. And in that criteria, they only included 3 events from an 11-month period. And unfortunately, during that 11 months is when I was either pregnant or postpartum with my daughter.
The IOC denied her initial request to qualify, but Bujold is still trying. And she has support from the Canadian Olympic Committee and the Canadian Heritage Minister, who wrote to the IOC president last week saying the decision, quote, does not reflect how our government or frankly how the IOC views gender equality, female empowerment, or encouraging mothers in sport.
Yeah, I want to obviously attend these Olympics, but beyond that, this is something you need to consider when you're putting criteria together that involves female athletes.
Bujold had planned to retire after Tokyo. For now, she's still training.
I've put so much work and, dedicated so much to this goal that I've had, almost my entire life that, I guess it would just be really heartbreaking if it had to end this way.
The Tokyo Olympics start July 23rd. The Pentagon has verified videos of UFOs and will soon release a report on some of what they know. The mystery in the skies, and it's not just an American problem. What experts know about Canadian sightings, and back on Earth.
It'll be much easier to actually just have a vehicle that is our house.
A growing number of people are ditching bricks for wheels. The appeal of living in a van. Stick around.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
After releasing new video captured by military pilots and authenticating older footage leaked online, the Pentagon says something is definitely out there. Call them UFOs if you want. The Pentagon is going with unidentified aerial phenomena. Fast, agile, and totally mysterious. And now everyone wants answers. Are they alien? Are they human? Are they hostile?
There's something out there that was better than our airplane.
If it's something outside this planet, that might actually be better than the fact that we've seen some technological leap on behalf of the Chinese or the Russians.
Jack, what is that thing? How the hell should I know?
A mainstay of pop culture, UFOs have always captured the imagination. But what is real? The sightings do go back years and several presidents. Even the ever-rational Barack Obama maintains an open mind, talking about them on a late-night show.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Intelligence officials will brief Congress on all this next month. To discuss all of this, we have Chris Rutkowski, a prominent Canadian ufologist and science writer, and Matthew Hayes, a UFO historian. Thanks very much for joining us on the program tonight. Chris, I want to just start with the U.S. How do you describe the way in which these objects were moving?
Well, certainly, depending on whether you're talking about what was seen in the videos versus what was reported to be seen by the pilots. On the videos, the objects appear to be moving in some unusual, erratic manner, but according to some, the analysis shows that these things may actually be, in some cases, stationary or not moving very fast at all. So it's a problem in the interpretation.
Yeah, and Matthew, I am struck because this was not just one-offs. These were multiple military pilots seeing the same kind of thing day after day over years.
That's right, and it goes back quite far. I mean, in my own research, I go back decades, not just a few years, but back to the 40s, where these claims are not necessarily common, but we've seen them before. And that was the thing that struck me the most, is that of all of these claims that are being made, they could be straight out of the 1950s.
Chris, why reveal all of this now? When I look at the American context, why talk about it at this point?
Well, that's actually a very good question, because as Matt was saying, we've seen a lot of this before. But in this particular case, there's been a lot of intense interest. I think a lot of people were very interested in hearing what Barack Obama had to say. The fact that even though it was a comedy talk show, he actually paused and said, let's get serious for a moment. But the Defense Department has been under a lot of pressure ever since some of these videos were leaked, and we're not entirely sure who leaked the original one back in 2007. And it's caused a lot of people to think this could be it. This could be the year of disclosure, even though I doubt that's what we're going to be seeing.
Okay, let's be clear about what you're saying. What is the year of disclosure? What would the disclosure be?
Well, people, I think, are expecting that the United States government is finally going to say, yeah, we have the discs, or that UFOs are real, or that the aliens are here. And yet that's not really what we're seeing. The videos themselves might have some interesting explanations. Some people have already explained the videos away. We're not sure what the pilots have seen, but there's no question these objects have been seen for many years. And a lot of interpretations suggest that these things are capable of some sort of flight and propulsion that we don't understand, and yet we can't really say that just from these videos.
Now, just because something can't be explained doesn't mean that it's alien, but Matthew, there are multiple reports as well. I look to your work in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. My work stretches back as late as the 1940s, actually, when it all began, 1947, with Roswell and a couple other incidents. So this goes back quite far. It's not just a matter of a few years, but a matter of a few decades. 75 years or so. So there is actually quite a long history to this. Many of the sighting reports that are coming out, many of the things described are very, very similar, if not exactly the same as a lot of reports, especially from the 1950s. I've been telling this to a few people that you could just switch the dates on a lot of these articles and they'd be straight out of the 50s. We've been hearing about imminent disclosure for a very long time, and so I'm somewhat doubtful that that's going to come to pass, but at the very least there is a lot of continuity over the years.
Chris, what are some of the things that you know of from Canada?
Well, in fact, things are being seen right up till now. I know Matt's research covered up until about the 90s. I continue on after that. As recently as May the 9th, there was a report through Transport Canada of a Delta Airlines flight that was flying between Fairbanks, Alaska, and Minneapolis. It was right over Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, and the pilot reported to air traffic control that he had seen an unusual light passing above him. He was already flying at 39,000 feet, and according to air traffic control, there was nothing around him. So we get these reports all the time. They continue. There's nothing to say that they're alien, but the question is, if things are being reported to Transport Canada, there's always a question as to, does this endanger passengers? Is there a problem with the technology? Is there a problem with the pilot's observation? And I think that alone suggests that we should be looking at UFOs a little more seriously.
And yet, when we talk about UFOs and seriously, I mean, Chris, I would go back to you. Surely there has been, over the time of you being a ufologist, there have been people who have immediately dismissed what you do.
Yes and no. I'm not the type of person who goes around with a tinfoil hat and saying that aliens are here, you know, guard your children. What I'm saying is that there are a lot of UFO reports out there. In fact, in Canada, there's around 1,000 UFO reports filed every year with various agencies, including Transport Canada and the Department of National Defence, the Canadian Armed Forces. And polls suggest that 1 in 10 Canadians believe they've seen UFOs. There's a lot of people out there who have had experiences, and the question is, what is being seen? And we can explain most cases, but there's a small residual amount every year that sort of make us think, let's try and understand what's going on. And I think this is what's happening in the United States, that people want to know what's this residual amount.
Yeah, when you don't have an explanation for something, those questions persist. Matthew, Chris, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
As borders closed and restrictions tightened, a new trend picked up steam.
We've been living and traveling in our van for the last 2 years.
More people are converting buses and vans into tiny homes, leaving the pricey real estate market in their dust. With more than half of Canadians now at least partially vaccinated against COVID-19, some are starting to think about travel in a realistic way, and not just people anxious to finally get away from home, but also those in the tourism industry. Rafi Boudjikanian with how Yukon is looking to lead the way.
We're a place for people who love dogs.
What makes this Yukon adventure group unique is also what added to its financial worries this pandemic.
We can't just put them on the shelf, so we still have to take care of them.
Now, a hopeful sign customers will soon return. Starting Tuesday, some fully vaccinated Canadians will be welcomed into the territory 2 weeks after their second shot. No need for self-isolation. Visitors will have to sign a declaration allowing the territory to confirm their vaccine status, but right now Yukon is only able to confirm that with travelers from BC. It's hoping to develop a plan with other parts of the country.
We will be working with other jurisdictions. We're doing that now to see how that is. We're kind of like a snowplow right now for this, though, Rosie, because on the federal conversation, a lot of jurisdictions aren't where we are.
By now, Canadians have learned to temper their travel plans.
Other than a weekend excursion, there's no traveling planned, yeah.
Planned for summer?
Yeah.
There's not much to plan.
Many areas still have travel restrictions in place. Quarantines are mandatory for visitors to Manitoba, the territories, and Atlantic Canada, and some will only admit essential visitors. The border is shut between Ontario and its neighbours, and a stay-at-home order is in place. And even travel within British Columbia and Nova Scotia is restricted, as people are asked to stay in their regions.
We were planning to go to United States.
But the U.S. border is also still closed, and may be for a while.
So in Canada, I think it's much more important to actually improve or increase our vaccination coverage so that we do get that herd immunity.
Some U.S. politicians are pushing to get that border open, but there are concerns too about more people coming into the country. Ontario border mayors are meeting with the public safety minister next week. The topic of discussion hasn't been released. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
The pandemic pushed some people into big changes, like putting their homes on wheels. Magda Gebrselassie shows us van life.
Much better.
Cool.
Okay. Building a home for a life together on the road.
We joke that we're always living out of our car anyways. Like, it'll be much easier to actually just have a vehicle that is our house.
Amanda Kavakis and Jason St. Jacques are trading Toronto life for life in a van, a plan put into play after both were out of jobs temporarily. Then they postponed their wedding.
And then, of course, with COVID, that's kind of when it really kind of forced our hand and like, oh, this is the time that we can actually do it.
Bottom in first.
They moved in with family, started working remotely, saving thousands in rent.
So when you first walk in, we're going to have an L-shaped kitchen here.
This van is going to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Also learning how to build this life is Cody Williams and her girlfriend.
Everyone on the internet makes it look really easy. They're like, yeah, I just threw up my cabinets. And I'm like, that's a lot of work to do that. You can see here, I measured wrong. Y'all gotta measure twice, cut once. We'll just get a big plate for it so you won't see it.
She's up for it. This was always part of her long-term plan. The pandemic just moved up her timeline.
We've all been working remote, so this kind of sped up the process for me and really pushed me to go for this. This is kind of a scary thing to take on, but I'm really excited about it.
We're calling this the Vandemic 2020.
Mitchell Roscoe is co-owner of Pave to Pines, based in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. His company converts vans and school buses, and business is booming.
We're booking into the beginning of 2023 for any sort of builds, and we've also tripled our productions.
We've been living and traveling in our van for the last 2 years.
The surge of interest has been noticed by Jasmine Canning and Crystal Drinkwalter too. Online, the couple is known as the Van Wives.
People are realizing, like, throughout all this, like, what they want to be doing and where their heart is, where their passions are.
The simple things.
I think people are realizing that.
Good morning and welcome back. We are currently in Vancouver.
But this popularity comes while COVID restrictions continue to limit movement. The wives stopped traveling across borders, sticking to BC for now. Their advice to others is to follow local rules.
We all know to stay
How to stay safe.
6 feet apart,
Yeah.
wear your mask, don't go do unnecessary shops, only go for like groceries or gas.
Yeah, it's common sense.
We're out here on our hike again.
Still, it's too early to travel far for some.
I was planning to go from here to do all the Western provinces before COVID.
Demisha Dennis decided to park her dream of driving a mobile home until it's safer to do so.
Safe enough to, know that I'm not going to someone's community and bringing COVID into that neighborhood because I've been stopping in so many different places.
That will take some time. But so does building a livable van. Keeping this couple close to home for now, looking forward to brighter days and the road ahead. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
LA's hottest new punk band took the internet by storm. With a message that made a record label take notice, our moment is next.
A little while before we went into lockdown, a boy in my class came up to me and said that his dad told him to stay away from Chinese people. After I told him that I was Chinese, he backed away from me.
So sometimes you got to call out racism, and sometimes you got to put it to music and scream it. They are called the Linda Lindas, the hottest punk band out there because of a performance at the Los Angeles Public Library. So epic, it has now landed them a record deal. And tonight, they are our moment. A blistering attack on anti-Asian racism from Bella, Eloise, Lucia, and Mila, two sisters, a cousin, and a friend, aged 10 to 16, and wise beyond their years.
But being a kid is a powerful thing. Like, don't take that for granted.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things you can do as a kid that you can't do as an adult.
But their song has definitely got the attention of adults. The anthem I wish I'd had as a teenage Asian girl, said one tweet. Song of the day, wrote Rage Against the Machine guitarist Tom Morello, and some Twitter love from Questlove. And after their performance exploded online late last week, this weekend came news of a record deal, which seemed, frankly, inevitable. Words of warning from the Los Angeles Public Library: don't mess with the Linda Lindas. No, do not. Pretty amazing for them. If you'd like to see more of them, go to your Netflix queue. The movie Moxie, directed by Amy Poehler, it's got them in it. And that is The National for May 23rd. Have a great night.